Hi, this is Kane Hodder, better known as Jason from Friday the 13th, Victor Crowley from Hatchet. You are listening to Midnight at the Monster Museum. Keep listening, or I'll kill you.
This is Charles Band. You're listening to Midnight at the Monster Museum.
This is R.A. Mihailoff, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and you're listening to Midnight at the Monster Museum.
You sort of did it right into the mic. You opened the soda.
We're too comfortable here. We're too comfortable at 1313 Effects.
Yeah. Comfortable. It's easy for you to say.
Why? You're not comfortable?
No, not at all.
I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
Why don't you put your pants back on?
Are you comfortable in your masculinity?
Oh, very comfortable, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then why aren't you comfortable? I'm comfortable. Watch out behind you. It's like I got a helmet on. Welcome to Midnight at the Monster Museum, episode number 14. That's double sevens! Double sevens!
Is it 14? Because we did 13 and did Maxim go up? No?
Yeah, the Maxim one.
That's 14.
Episode 15 at Midnight at the Monster Museum. 15, not double sevens. But we passed episode 7, and we are shooting like a bullet straight towards success. All right.
The moving trucks are gone. And
I am Tom Devlin. This is Jeff Chang, and that over there is producer Waleed, next to a furry primeval beast. But what we have going on here today is insanity at the Monster Museum. I don't know why, but I get excited about other people's happiness, and this is a plague. This is something that has destroyed my life time and time again. But for the last 48 hours, I've been dealing with these people who are getting married here at the Monster Museum. We have a wedding outside setting up. They're going to get married at dusk. So whatever time dusk is, that's when they're doing their nuptials. And I was all for this, man. I was having a blast, and the idea of people making the happiest day of their life. And the bride and groom are freaking awesome. They're super cool people. They're regulars here at the Monster Museum. But then Momzilla showed up. Lady has been up my butt, and not only that, I gave specific guidelines.
Move or anything.
Specific guidelines on what they could and couldn't do, and they set up a tent larger than the Monster Museum itself. This has been.
And they wanted to put it like.
Yes. This has been pure chaos and utter disappointment. All I want to do is go home. I can't wait till today is over. And I'm sorry, but I will never, ever entertain any kind of event within my parking lot of the Monster Museum again. I will constantly and always be open to renting out the inside for special events. You must realize the space that it has, and the guest list has to entail the number that can fit in the...
Yeah, I don't really see the point otherwise.
They're not getting married in a Monster Museum. They're getting married in a parking lot of a strip mall.
They're getting married just as much at Vinny's as they are...
Right, with a view of traffic or dumpsters. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense.
Dumpsters.
I have no idea why they're doing this. And I've been duped.
I bet you they were talked into it. I think they wanted to have it inside, honestly.
The couple, I think, did probably want to have it inside. But this grew in, and weddings, I guess, are crazy and stupid. I don't partake usually. And me and my wife got married alone on a beach with no people. So it's...
Who was your witness?
Just the lady, the officiant.
That counts?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and there was a photographer. We had a photographer too. But that was it. I didn't even wear shoes. It was awesome. But here, I feel invaded. I feel disrespected, and I will never let somebody's happiest day create me misery at home. So that window is totally open. They can hear every word that I say.
I look at them like the chords right there.
Okay. So for our flashback feature,
Deadly
we
Friend.
are going for Deadly Friend, a Wes Craven class.
Yeah. Classically bad.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Roll the trailer.
If you enjoy
There!
being really scared, if you're not afraid of the unknown, if you've found a friend in fear, then we have a friend for you.
Hi.
Samantha,
Come in, please.
the director who unleashed Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven, now brings you his most frightening creation.
Get out of my house!
Hey, girl. She's killing people. Mom? Sam? Sam.
You're so cute.
Deadly friend. She can't live without you.
Now, when you watch that trailer, there is no.
It looks like a fucking.
It looks like a horror
psycho.
movie.
It looks like a psycho obsession movie.
like The Crush.
Yeah.
With the Batgirl. Alicia Silverstone. Man, was she smoking hot in The Crush.
Yeah.
That was awesome. But it looks like The Crush, but with Christy Swanson, which is the smoking hot.
And you don't have any clue what is actually happening in this fucking movie.
Which I really enjoy a trailer that throws you off the scent that much. I love a trailer.
But at the same time, at least I don't want to be misled either.
Yeah,
I don't want to be misled.
You like a
thinking-
teaser. You just want a teaser.
I want at least an idea of the movie I'm getting myself into, because I've seen a few trailers where I think I'm watching one thing, I go into the movie, and it's something completely different.
What about Dusk Till Dawn?
Oh, I love that, but I knew what I was
But
getting
it was a
into.
twist.
Yeah. But no one like Godzilla. We were talking about this the other day, the 2004. I do really like that movie, but they promote it as if Godzilla's the villain, and Bryan Cranston plays his prominent role. He dies like a third way through the fucking movie, and Godzilla's a good guy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have to say...
Or Highlander, the one with both Adrian Paul and Connor McLeod.
Is it Endgame or
Yeah.
something like that?
Like, most of the trailer has major plot points in it, and none of them happen in it. None of them happen, and they publish it. Oh, a team of immortals is going to have to take down. There's no team of immortals. They make it sound like there's a superhero team. Doesn't happen. But,
So, with Deadly Friend, this is where we're going to see an age difference between me and Jeff, because this movie came out in 1986.
And I wanted to bring it up for the exact reason that we're...
It is made for my generation, not maybe for your. You might have been looking for a serious horror film. And I enjoyed the shit out of Deadly Friend. And here's the thing. I didn't know who Wes Craven was then. Later, I realized Wes Craven's one of my favorite humans on Earth, my favorite intellectuals, one of my favorite people to hear speak, and I have a really hard time understanding that he made this movie.
Well, see, that's the thing is that they touched base on his horror roots, and I hadn't long, it wasn't that long after I had become a Wes Craven fan. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite horror series and everything, and
I saw Deadly Friend before Nightmare.
Okay, and that was the thing to preface people, first of all, I wanted to talk about this movie because people don't seem to understand how easy it is for a movie to get derailed. It doesn't take much for a movie to go bad, even if it got a good premise. and even more so when the studio gets involved. This was not supposed to be a horror movie. This was not supposed to be a horror movie.
But it's not really.
It was not supposed to have much death in it. It was supposed to be about the people around her, not her being the monster.
It was supposed to be a love story.
Yeah.
It was initially a
macabre,
love story. But the robot also falls in love, right?
Ish, yeah.
Okay.
And that, well, and that...
Quick premise of the movie as it stands. For those of you who have not seen Deadly Friend, it is a nerdy 10th grader who looks like he's 40, has created a robot to basically, I mean, we're talking about, so what I love so much about the robot is it is like a finished version of Johnny Five.
Well, here's the thing, is I think it's a perfect like analogy of what's wrong, because the way they talk about the robot in the context of the movie is they speak about it like it's fast and like it's able to do all these different functions, and the robot's functional and it's awesome. But even its voice, it sounds like a crossbreed between it's a crossbreed between like a gremlin and Station from Bloga's Journey.
Right.
And, but they depict it as if it's supposed to have this like endearing cuteness to it, and it's not cute at all.
So to me, the robot looks exactly like if you put skin on Johnny Five.
A shell around it. Yeah.
And I mean, it looks like a completed version of Johnny Five.
But they talk about it like it's supposed to be fast, and it's so slow, and you know,
it kind of looks like the robot from that Rocky movie, almost too.
Kinda. Yeah. That's a very 80s, that roundy look.
Yeah.
So the boy builds a robot. Then the boy's new to the neighborhood, which is the back lot on Universal Studios. You can clearly see the Munster House in the background. And then, so also the neighborhood from Desperate Housewives.
Back to the Future also.
Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, Paperboy, who's kind of like the dude from Karate Kid that he meets when he kicks the door open. It's like, oh, this guy fell. Now we're buddies. He sees a hot neighbor
because of the robot.
Yeah, there's a robot that made him fall for no reason. And I have to say, the Paperboy is Tom. I think his name's Tom.
Yep.
He is a comic relief. He's the comic relief, but he's dopey and stupid and falls over all the time.
Yeah.
But he also, there's this line in the movie where he said, "What do you think about our neighbor?" And he's like, "Sam." Speaking of Christy Swanson, who played Buffy later.
The original.
Yes. And he said, "Oh, she got nice tits." And that's what he says about her. That's it. And it's like, oh.
Well, what's even funnier is like, then the main guy, Paul's all like, yeah, I don't remember the exact words, but basically like, yeah, damn right.
The thing is first of all, Christy Swanson's super attractive in this movie, but wears frumpy-ass sweaters, and you don't even see an outline, not even a hint of tit. It's not a gratuitous role. She's not wearing lycra Buffy outfit with pink and black and a halter top.
And she's only 16 too, so.
Well, there you go. But 16-year-old.
No, my point. Well, I'm only saying that because like back in the day when I watched it, I was only like 10 years old, and she was hot as shit because I'm a 10-year-old, and now going back, it's hard to watch it with that mindset because you know.
Well, it was.
It's no good.
The thing is super hot. No, I don't know why they said she's got nice tits.
Well, the movie's schizophrenic.
And it was made for television.
No, it wasn't. It was theatrical.
Oh, I always thought that it was made for television.
Oh, no, it's hard R, man. It's hard R.
I saw it.
And that's the cool thing that's what the weird thing about this movie is that the horror elements don't fit there, but the deaths are really cool.
Well, so anyway, this robot, we're going to get through the synopsis. The robot is a buddy, and it ends up just being a side story.
Schizophrenic.
Yes, totally. Deadly friend. And is the deadly friend the robot? Absolutely not. The deadly friend happens to be this neighbor girl who, because she gets thrown down the stairs by her abusive father, she gets brain damage and dies, and then our nerdy son is invited by a doctor to fix her brain.
No. He sneaks in.
Yeah, he sneaks in to bring her back.
He sneaks in.
Okay, the doctor seems interested that this kid knows how to work on brains.
Well, yeah, no, he's there as an invite because he's a child prodigy.
Right.
And so he's there to do his thing.
Hauser, if you will.
And he's far advanced in understanding the brain, which is so funny because when he's messing with the brain of a cadaver or whatever, a corpse.
With poorly painted feet.
And the professor is fascinated that he understands things to the point that he doesn't seem to understand what he's doing. But, I mean, I don't know if there's been some sort of major advance in medical technology. I knew what he was doing.
Right.
And it's, I'm no prodigy and some of that. And it was basic understanding of biology, but whatever. And so when he found out that Sam was going to be brain dead.
Waleed, if you die, Jeff's bringing you back.
Is he going to bring me back by
microchip,
just
though.
putting, a 16-pin microchip just sticking it in my brain, and that's how?
Well, that's the thing.
brings me back?
The thing is,
There's
she
nothing
breaks her
else he
fucking
does.
neck, and that's why she's brain damaged, supposedly.
They didn't fix her neck.
Yeah, doesn't fix her neck.
They don't even have a bruise on her neck. Only bruise on her eyes.
We'll talk more about it, and in the end, what ends up finishing her is one gunshot. So it's like she's already snapped her neck to the point where she's dead. Gets resurrected with the microchip and then dies again by one gunshot.
We should make Deadly Friend 2.
So, real quick though,
the robot's debunked though after they bring back the chick, and now she's the robot. She's got the brain of the robot.
Well, that's what's so funny. She does the hand thing.
Yeah, she's got the Spock hands to mimic the robot.
Yeah. And the robot is it only says BB because his name is BB. And everyone's BB. Even she's doing BB. And there's a song that in the credits is BB.
Yeah.
But,
So at the end of the day, when I remember this movie, I remember it being awesome. I don't remember it being a piece of shit.
Dude, she throws a basketball at Mama from Mama on the Train and Ramsey, and also known Mama Fratelli. So she's known for her two best roles as Mama, and she gets her head exploded by a basketball. The basketball is completely intact.
When I first saw that, I rewound that part so many times. I was like, that was amazing.
It's better than Scanners. It's better than Scanners because the chunks are bigger.
But the body that's walking around because it's flailing around and stuff like that afterwards.
But that might be one of the coolest deaths in the horror movies. Yeah. I love that death.
Well, according to Wes Craven, though, is the original cut of it was like 15 seconds long, and it was really, really cool. But because...
I think it is really, really cool.
But, the original cut of it. But because of the reaction to the ratings board through other movies that had decapitations in it and stuff that were mandated...
he lengthened it so he could cut it down.
Basically.
And then they didn't make him cut it down.
No, they cut it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I really, really like that head explosion. It's completely unbelievable. And then there's some funny parts where she's like wrestling and fighting with people. She can't seem to hurt them with her bare hands, but she can throw the basketball hard enough to explode their head.
Absolutely.
But that might have been a glitch, like she just hit a little, oops. Like fucking Rookie of the Year, got like the snappy arm.
Yeah. She's got really tight tendons in her arm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, she broke her neck. That's
the thing is, she like at the end, she hucks one of the bullies into the police car, and somehow it kills him, even though he just lands on the glass and stuff. And then all of a sudden, all the cops are bloodthirsty and are pulling guns on her. And
they shoot her, right?
Yeah,
right in the belly.
Only because she comes running out with her Spock hands.
Those Spock hands look like, drop your weapons. There's no weapons. They're my hands. You're a super hot teenager. I'll just shoot
and
you.
she's slowly walking towards them too, with just her hands out.
Well, it's interesting because the writer of this movie, he's actually a fairly prominent writer. It's Bruce Joel Rubin. Who did you ever see Brainstorm? It's Natalie Wood's last movie with Christopher Walken. It's a really cool movie. You should check that out. It's a 1983 movie. But he also wrote Ghosts and Deep Impact and Jacob's Ladder.
All good movies.
Yeah, and
all movies that make sense.
I have to believe that the script of this movie, because Wes Craven loved the script originally. Everybody that signed on to the original premise, which was the love story, the dark, macabre love story that was more of...
How do you make a dark movie with a bright yellow robot?
I think it was orange.
That was yellowish.
Anyway, yeah, well, like we were talking about with the robot earlier, like the bullies come up on the motorcycles and stuff, and somehow
that is a badass XR250R though.
I ain't talking a motorcycle.
But the leader of the motorcycle gang is on a dirt bike, and the other guys are on street bikes, which is the coolest thing in the world. To
Well,
me.
despite the fact that it moves like a robot from the 80s, you would expect it
I like
to
when
move
they
very
fall
slowly.
over the motorcycle.
Well, he comes up, and he suddenly, they speed up the film, but it comes up and just quickly grabs up all the balls. When every other time it moves so slowly and robotic.
That's its basketball throwing reflex.
Yeah.
Well, anytime there's a ball involved,
Whenever there's balls.
it moves super fast.
And the two guys, they look like twins, and they're just little meatheads. They don't even look like guys that would be riding any kind of motorcycle around town. They got their sunglasses on, like slowly back on their motorcycles. Oh,
I like when the other doofus bad guy on the XR shows back up in an alley for no reason and is like just waiting for Paul, Peter, whatever the dude, Paul, waiting for Paul, and it's just like out of nowhere, like, oh, there you are, like he's been looking for him.
Well, Paul was played by.
But I am super into dirt bikes and horror films, so when
you're off by dirt bikes, period. What are you talking about?
but it makes it good. You got Pumpkinhead, you got Eight-Legged Freaks, and to put dirt bike in a movie, you're doing well.
Well, the guy who played
Levi's Part 2.
The guy who played Paul, it was Matthew Laberteau, and he played Albert in Little House on the Prairie. That was the thing he was most known for. But this was his last film role.
You don't say.
But he's mainly done video games and cartoons and stuff like that. Do you know who played the voice of BB so awfully?
Yeah, Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, Charles Fleischer.
Yeah.
But and then of course we got Christy Swanson. We already talked about that, and it's just a shame that Wes Craven's because you think you're going to get a Wes Craven movie, and then there's flashes. What's so weird is that
there's hints.
Well, WB didn't know that he was a horror guy when they hired him for this movie, and his agent told him that unless he wanted to get stuck in independent film, that he needs to do a studio film. That's why he signed on, and he wanted to do something akin to like a Starman type movie that was more about like investigating the human condition and the difference between like real monsters.
Who do you think built the wooden ramp that goes up the steps for the robot? Do you think that he convinced the robot to build his own ramp, or did he build the ramp for the robot?
I don't know, but I love I love that beginning part. I don't know if you remember that when he comes in, BB needs to charge himself, so he
throws the piano.
Pushes the piano, and it slides perfectly into place, and then the cord comes out, and it's just straight, and he just kind of, it just goes and plugs himself.
But damn that piano. And he moves that piano with basketball force.
Yeah, but then when they have him shoot the thing, despite the fact that he has no basketball motion, big surprise when he throws the ball over his head and into Mama's yard.
Yeah.
And she takes a shotgun to him.
And she throws that ball. She sets up her own death. She throws the ball inside her house.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting your ball back, bitch.
Like, my house, my property.
And then that ball ended her life.
Damn shit.
Well, do you remember the ending of that movie? Because it never fucking made sense to me at all, and I understand why it exists now.
When the girl turns into a robot.
Yeah.
She's got the
How
yellow...
does a computer chip... how does a microchip in somebody's brain
cybernetic organism
reconfigure you? But it didn't have an endoskeleton in the first place, but somehow it turns into an endoskeleton.
That's called endoskeletal stem cell.
Well, that's like something like, it'd be like nanotechnology now or something. But
here's the thing. I looking at it now, remembering, I don't remember what that robot looked like, but I remember it was yellowish. But it reminds me, what about those yellow, awesome robot hookers on Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2? I think they're the same breed as her. They look like her a little bit.
Well, Mark Canton, the president of WB at the time, for whatever reason, he said that he wanted that ending.
She had to become a robot.
Yeah, nobody understood how it made sense. It did not make sense.
Super stretchy, like latex skin that didn't want to rip.
Yeah, and I don't know how a person's involved in this, but supposedly the person, Christy Swanson, had rapped, and because they came back for reshoots on it, because that wasn't the original ending.
Yeah.
And I couldn't actually find out what the original ending was, but
It's probably something good.
yeah, better than her turning into a robot and then killing him.
The whole movie, like, she cares
robot
about
and
him.
her love. No, but she even expresses love for him in that moment, and she fucking snaps his neck.
It's like Frankenstein's monster.
But
Gotta put an end to it.
yeah, he just mandated the ending, and you know, they basically said that nobody's gonna tell the president of the studio that his idea sucks.
I would. I would tell him.
So, like I said, that's what I wanted to talk about was you know, have you ever had any interference that just absolutely fucked anybody, where it's like they completely altered something that you thought was going to be one way, and then it just didn't make any sense?
I did a movie called Black Ops that should have been awesome. It starred Lance Henriksen, and it was and Tom Hanks' brother, Jim Hanks, and it should have been really awesome. It all took place on a battleship. It was written by Ethan Wiley, who wrote Monster Squad and with Shane Black, and he also wrote and directed House 2, and he wrote House 1, and directed by Steve Miner. And so Ethan is a badass, and he had a badass script about a frozen Nazi that comes back on his battleship, a slasher movie, and it kills off a bunch of people, turns them into zombies, kills them in fun ways. And Lance Henriksen, it wasn't the studio because it was an independent film, but Lance himself started rewriting the script. And the director, Roel Rene, who's a very, very accomplished independent horror director, let Lance run wild with this fucking movie. And we ended up, I call it Black Plops, because it is a terrible, unwatchable movie. And it should have been one of my highlights of my career.
Now, is that what formulated your opinion on? Okay.
Well, that's where I
I couldn't remember if there was something before that or.
No, this was I had some interesting times with Lance on that movie. The first interaction, he tried throwing me out of my own trailer, not realizing I was the department head, and that infuriated me. But then we watched Alien on the battleship together. We watched Aliens Part 2. The whole movie through, just me and him, while they were shooting a bunch of crap that nobody cares about. We watched the whole movie, and he commentated it as if he had never seen it. It was so awesome. One of the greatest moments of my life. I'm sitting there with Bishop, who's acting like he had never seen the most iconic role he's ever played, and it was incredible. And then 3 weeks after that movie, I did another movie with him, and he didn't know who I was. Couldn't remember me at all. And I was like, I thought we shared something. You know, so that was a bummer. But
it was a one-night stand.
It was.
It was a one-night stand.
And anyway, but he derailed that movie. He wouldn't let me life cast him, so I couldn't kill him. He was supposed to get decapitated. Wouldn't let me life cast him. So we ended up, he gets a little gouge on his neck built with some silicone, 3rd degree. But you don't see it anyway. You don't see anything. The whole movie is terrible because he was in there changing the script up, and there was no direction to it. Ethan had written a funny but serious
fucking what movie
film.
did you sign on for? Why are you fucking with it?
Well, Rene, the director, was making his movie. Ethan had written his movie. Lance is directing his own bullshit.
No, you know what I'm saying?
It happened on Feast of Fear, too, with Robert Davi. Yeah. Same exact thing.
But why'd you even sign on for the project if you didn't fucking... Not you.
For
him.
PJ.
And then you want to fucking... Oh, I can make this better.
And he didn't make it... He was never trying to make it better. He was trying to make it easier. He was trying to make his job easier. And that's a shame. It sucks because I really do respect Lance as a actor. I think he's freaking great. And after that, he was in Appaloosa, and he was phenomenal. It's not like he's lost his touch since the 80s. He is still awesome. And actually, I'm going to share one more thing about Lance before we get back to what we're really talking about. I have Lost Boys tattooed on my fingers, and he said to me, you know, that could say near dark. And I said, it says that on my toes, sir. That was it. But it does not say that on my toes. I thought that was cool.
He probably knew you lied to him. That's why.
But anyway, back to Deadly Friend.
Well, no, because like I said, that's what I want to...
Right.
Any other... I mean, because that's... you know.
I mean, it does happen all the time. It happens on the big studios, and we hear about it. I mean, it happens on
because
small
it's so
studios.
easy for people, and you know, it's like when we were talking about how people just want to immediately dismiss something as shit instead of trying to harvest the good out of something. It's the same kind of thing. They want to so easily dismiss a movie as shit when it's like,
and they blame the director.
It doesn't take much for a movie to get derailed.
Right. So here's the thing, and you got to think about a forward-thinking director, much like Robert Rodriguez or Kevin Smith, in my opinion. Somebody who is setting a standard that nobody understands at the moment, but then 10 years later, they're like, well, this guy is a freaking mastermind of cinema who changed an entire generation. But in the studio system, they don't fit. They didn't work. They had to go out on their own, do it on their own, and say, this is what I'm making, like it or not. And then all of a sudden the public likes it, and the studio's like, hey, this is great. Let's knock this off. Let's make something that's like this, and let's make something that's like that. And the next thing you know, you have like all these... You
stop having reboots.
Right.
But it's like the spider story for Kevin Smith and Superman, and that turned into Wild West.
Wild West.
And then his experience with Bruce Willis on
what I can commend Kevin Smith for is right now, if you ask Kevin Smith, what Marvel character would you want to do a movie for? What DC character do you want to do a movie for? He says none. Absolutely not.
Well, he was on. He had the opportunity to do a couple.
But when he doesn't,
TV show.
When he doesn't,
no, he was actually one of the directors for Green Hornet.
Sure.
And he was signed for it, and he was going to do it. He started writing it, and then him and Scott Mosier talked about it.
Said this is not for us.
And Mosier realized, you know, they're gonna fucking put their hands in it, especially since it's you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have
the clout.
Yeah. And
that's
the movie you make is not going to be what you want to make.
And that's why I hear it all the time. Why would Rob Zombie make Halloween? Why would Rob Zombie make Halloween 2? You want to know why? Because somebody else would have. They asked Rob Zombie, and he said, yeah, of course I'll make Halloween. Because if I don't, freaking Ang Lee's going to, or somebody, you know. So he's going to do the best. He's going to do what he can. But there's a perfect example of studios meddling and making a terrible product is Halloween 2. On Halloween 2, the studios would not leave Zombie alone. And everybody hates Halloween 2. I'm sure he's not fond of it either. I actually like it. But
I actually appreciate it because it's not derivative.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's its own animal.
I have a couple flaws with it, but I love the movie as much as anything else. But the thing is the studios don't know what's hip. And they try holding on to what they think is hip. And then the forward-thinking directors, like Wes Craven, who was a brilliant mind that nobody had discovered at that point. You know, Nightmare had come out, and it was a success.
They were independent movies.
But they were independent. Yeah. Nobody like Warner Brothers didn't give a shit about New Line, which is funny because now they own them. Mm-hmm. But at that time, like... In New Line, in those days, you had Rennie Harlan, you had Wes Craven, you had people like Frank Darabont, all milling around making creative decisions that would affect our future, and nobody realized what a hot commodity New Line was until Lord of the Rings. What the fuck? It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But now everybody that you know, the house that Freddie built, everybody involved has moved on to make huge things, and everyone. There's not a director at New Line that didn't go on to do something cool.
Well, you know, it's an extension of what we were talking about last week when, or the last podcast with Hills Run Red, about how the studio doesn't understand the benefit of making these smaller movies, where, you know, it's like a farm system with a sports team. That, you know, you're building up these guys that will become
in the
crop guys.
In the mid 2000s here, they kind of got it, and like Warner's made their little horror sanction, and so and so had, you know,
look
Castle.
At fucking James Gunn. Look at James Gunn.
Of course,
fucking trauma guy, and he's one of the most sought after directors around now. Sam Raimi too.
And that is the thing. Horror brings passionate human beings to it, and they go on to prove a point and make movies. And as far as Deadly Friend being a flop for Wes Craven, he's also said that he was going through some terrible life moments during making that movie. He was being sued. He was going through a divorce. He had got rejected from Beetlejuice 2, which he was supposed to direct.
And he was, I thought it was Beetlejuice 1. I'm pretty sure it's Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Kevin Smith was going to do Beetlejuice 2. That's
And
right.
then also at the same time, he had to deliver a script for Dream Warriors. Too.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on personally, and then the studios didn't understand what the hell he was trying to do. Obviously, the script got totally rewritten by somebody else.
God, I would love to have seen a fucking Wes Craven Beetlejuice.
No, that'd be awesome.
I love Beetlejuice, but
Yeah,
that would have been
that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But so it's one of those things. It's
I
like,
think Serpent in the Rainbow is almost like that in some scenes near the end.
Serpent in the Rainbow
It's a great movie.
might be one of Wes's best movies to me.
I think it's one of the scariest.
Yeah.
There's those parts at the end where like the hands, like all the hands coming out, and
Yeah.
I'm not dead.
the prison pit. Yeah,
It's a lot like the table scene with the hands coming out of the food.
Yeah, it's very like dreamlike or like otherworldly.
I love Serpent in the Rainbow. We should do that one day. We should do a Serpent in the Rainbow. I could do a whole Wes Craven everything because I think he's brilliant.
We're supposed to do Nightmare on Elm Street series.
We are.
We're supposed to do the Fly series.
Yeah. We got a lot of content, guys. Keep listening because this is going to be awesome. So, we are going to jump off Deadly Friend and move on because this stupid wedding, we got things to do here. But we're going to go on the
Schizophrenic day, schizophrenic movie, schizophrenic podcast.
Yes, let's go to the Hypno-Swirl system. Jeff, what do you give Deadly Friend on the Hypno-Swirls?
I'm only giving it a 2.
2?
A 2, yeah.
Wow. Man, I have such a hard time with this. I can't give that. I'm going to go with a 4.
Oh.
I give it a solid 4.
That's what I would have done too. I saw this movie on accident as a kid, and I was like, this is weird and
awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
It's awesome.
You gotta understand too, though, the reason why I never pursued my dream of being a comic book artist was
because of Deadly Friend.
No, because of people.
Because of robots?
The idea of people telling me what to make and what to do, and this is a clear example of that, where an artist, a master of his craft, is completely derailed and doing something he had never signed up for.
But you do know that you can get into independent comics.
Not then. Back then, no way.
Sure.
And the independent scene was nothing back then.
Yes, but Ninja Turtles.
Image.
Yeah.
In
1986.
Ninja Turtles were an independent.
In 1986.
Uh,
I don't know when did the comic come out?
Came out in 1987.
Sure.
Well, I mean, it was literally, they made up their own studio, just drew.
It was only supposed to be an individual issue, and that's it.
Yeah, like change the world.
Yeah.
A few years later, at the time. I'm talking about the time.
I'm just saying, man. I'm going to tell everybody listening to these podcasts, just fucking do it.
And it's a good thing it derailed me, otherwise I wouldn't be in fucking effects now.
We say that, but maybe it would have been
No,
better.
I'm glad to know I'm a fucking a good sculptor, because I didn't know.
Maybe you would be friggin'
Things happen for a reason. They happen
making
the
the
way they're
next
supposed to
Marvel
be.
movie.
So.
What are you making the next Marvel movie?
Well, let's see. The next one, they're making Black Widow right now. And
Hey, Kevin Smith is doing the Howard the Duck cartoon.
I know, I'm so
That's
stoked
awesome.
for that.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're doing a What If that's going to have Marvel Zombies in it.
Hey, we're talking about comic books here, so this leads right into our modern day movie that we're going to cover, which is not a movie, it's a TV series, but it's something that I
fucking
have
binge that shit.
I have
binged
not
that shit.
seen it,
It's so
but Jeff has seen
good.
it,
It's awesome.
and it's called The Boys.
The Boys. Yeah.
So tell us about The Boys.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Is it made for Amazon? It's an Amazon Prime channel thing.
Yes, and it couldn't be a network show at all. It's so violent and so, I mean, it's amazing. To me, it's kind of programming to all the superhero stuff right now, because essentially what it is Captain Amazing from Mystery Men.
Yes.
Imagine that, but a team of them, but they have no regard for human life, really. They're all about self-promotion and self-image, and as long as their publicists keep a good image of them, crimes are like, this is not a spoiler. Well, it kind of is, but it happens in the first couple minutes of the show. The main character, who's played by Jack Quaid, which is the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. he is in love with his girlfriend, and they're kissing each other. She's just barely off the curb, and suddenly, when he goes to kiss her, just slow-mo, there's this just stream of blood just goes flying everywhere, and blood goes on his face, and the guy's sitting there holding the arms of his girlfriend because the fastest man alive, the speedster, accidentally ran into her. And the story that is spun is that she came out of nowhere and stepped into the street and stuff. And, of course, Jack Quaid's pissed because his name's Huey in the show. He's all like, she was 1 foot off the curb, you motherfucker! And,
jaywalking. That's jaywalking.
Yeah, but she had been there for a little bit, And,
that's Jay standing.
And even when it came to apologizing and stuff, he didn't really seem to have regard. And then Huey finds out that he was even making jokes about it and shit. And, but all the while, it turns out that the Seven, which is basically this universe's Justice League, they all have these different publicists, and it's all about maximizing cash flow. They could actually stop crimes and stop things from happening at a better rate, but they pick and choose what they do, and
ratings.
And sometimes like people die that just didn't have to die. But
so it's called The Boys, but I noticed there's some girls too.
Well, the group is like, it's me and the boys. That's what it is. It's me and the boys.
Yeah.
It's the group is technically there ends up being a girl, technically, but it's me and the boys.
Oh, okay.
But it's fantastic because they do nice little things. Because each character in the Seven is basically
a knockoff of a comic.
Pretty much, yeah. And what my favorite as far as entertainment value goes is the guy who's based on Aquaman, because when the new girl joins the Seven, she actually wants to be a superhero. And that's the thing, too, is she thinks she's going to be a superhero.
And help people.
Yeah, but it's all a ruse, and she becomes really disenchanted. But he ends up manipulating her into doing a sex act on her and stuff like that, because, she's the new girl and stuff like that. And he's the number 2 in charge. No, would come to find out, he's fucking Aquaman. He ain't no number 2 shit. But she doesn't know any better, and it's like, and he's, he blackmails her because he's all like, yeah, you new girl, you went psycho, and I had to protect myself, and but it's funny because it turns out that he has image problems because he's fucking Aquaman, right. And he's the guy who talks to fish, and so he goes through all these identity crises, and because if anybody knows anything about Aquaman, the actual Aquaman, he went through all these different image changes through the 90s.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of see
through the 90s, 70s, 90s, and today.
Well, you can kind of see where they're mining this idea from.
Does he end up looking like Jason Momoa?
No. He has a Britney moment.
Okay. Because all his hair off.
Yeah. He shaves his head. But, no, it's fantastic. But it is violent. It is so violent. And Carl Urban, he is absolutely phenomenal in this show. He's the main guy. Okay, I actually didn't even say what the actual premise is. It's the boys, is this group. They want to take down the Seven because they know.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that Carl Urban's character has a personal reason, personal vendetta, much like Jack Quaid's character has a personal reason to hate these people because they're not actually Crime Stoppers, And so they want to take them down because they actually are more harm to the ideology of the world than
help.
Is his character the one with the dog that he could just make fuck anything? Like he tells his dog to go fuck that and the dog will go fuck shit?
No.
Is that a thing?
No. Not in the show.
Oh, in the comic, he can tell his dog to. It doesn't happen on the show?
No.
Oh.
He doesn't. No,
Kids,
but the show's phenomenal.
For the kids, you can say home.
What's your fucking language, man? What the fuck?
A dog humping is funnier than a dog.
What's his face? Shaun of the Dead was supposed to be Huey, right?
No, it's his dad.
It's his dad in the show?
Yeah.
Because when they drew the comic, they drew him.
Yeah, but he's old
as
now.
a character. Yeah.
It's like 11 years later.
No.
Yeah.
So
it's Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg. But it's weird.
I guessed that. I actually guessed that from the Shaun of the Dead thing.
It's weird. It's weird though because I've only ever heard him speak in an English accent or a Scottish accent, and he speaks in an American.
What about it in Star Wars?
But he does a voice in that. It's not really his voice.
Not an accent, not an English accent though.
No, but he's not doing him either. You know. But it's weird. It's Simon Pegg, but he's speaking with an American accent.
Huh.
It's odd.
It's weird.
Yeah. Especially when he says he's Remington Steele is on.
Well, we got 3 minutes. What do you want to tell this audience about this show?
Watch it. It's amazingly entertaining. Particularly, well, the deep ends up. The one good thing about him, he's a complete misogynistic bastard, but he wants to save sea life.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's trying to rescue this dolphin, and while he's driving this dolphin, the dolphin's talking to him. And the dolphin wants to have a relationship with him, and he's all like, "Right now, really?" But you can't understand you can't understand what the dolphins say, but the dolphins speak dolphin language, and so you're interpreting it from his side. He's like, "Right now," he's like, "I'm trying to concentrate." Okay, if I let you touch it, will you just leave it? and then the cops come, and he says to jam on the brakes, and it's just the best slow-mo of all time, because the dolphin is launched right past him in slow-mo, and he watches it go past him, and it lands in the street, and it gets run over by a car. And every time he tries to help any sea life, they always end up dying. And it's even to the point that when he's having one of these crises because of this, they're playing REM's Everybody Hurts.
Well, I'm sold on the show based on your laughter.
When he brings a girl up to his house because he's off hiding because he's trying to fucking recuperate because he feels so shitty about the dolphin dying, and he brings a groupie up to his room, and finally he gets his comeuppance, and she wants to see his gills, all this stuff, and she starts touching him, and he's like, "No, it hurts. I said stop." And so she starts fingering his gills. Oh.
Okay.
It's so fucked up, but it's so funny.
So, in the light of that show, I will watch it. I will love it. I will laugh about it. We will talk about it later. I'm going to put, Jeff's going to break the scale and give this one a 12.
Yes.
And because of this awesome wedding, I can't think of a bride, but I wasn't really mad at the bride. I think she's awesome. I'm not even going to spin this wheel of killers. We're going to see if Jeff can survive, would survive. How would he get away from...
If I was Pennywise.
The stepfather.
Which one?
The stepfather part... Let's go part 2. It's my favorite.
Because that's O'Quinn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's O'Quinn. He'd kill me. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
he lived to see a third one and get a facial reconstruction, so...
He did.
Which is, I have to say, is one of the most genius ways of recasting a guy.
Well, Durant too, right? Durant and Dorkman.
Well.
All right, with that, nighttime is the fight time. I'm Tom Devlin. That's Jeff, and this is producer Waleed, and we are out.